Well, congrats. If you've made it this far, you made it to the last page. We are in session E, page 25, going over finishing details and exporting our media out of Premiere. It is important to turn it into a finished file. If you were just to send somebody your Premiere project file, they can't do anything with it. They would have to have the folder that had every single video in it. Like, it's a whole mess. So we have to export it into an exported file format that is recognizable and playable outside of Premiere. Most commonly these days, MP4 is the video format that you're going to see. That's what YouTube uses as well. So you would want to save and render the whole project just to make sure everything is working properly. So I'm going to press Control S, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit enter. I don't have anything that's unrendered, so we're good to go, but you could watch the whole thing through. And really it looks fine. The only thing that really bothers me is the beginning. I like to fade in from black at the beginning of a clip. So I'm going to add a cross dissolve transition. Just go to Effects, type dissolve or dis, and then under video transitions and dissolve, there's a cross dissolve. It's actually the default one. If I take and drag that onto the head of my man clip, he will now just kind of fade up. I think that looks better. So for our finishing touches, we'll say that's the last thing, but also this would be when you would take time to see if there's anything misspelled, anything that you want to add color grading to, that your volume is good, all of that stuff. We're going to say it is. In order to export this, you're going to save it one last time, and you're going to be sure you're clicked on the sequence timeline. If you're not clicked on that, the option will be grayed out on your menu bar. So that's important. You're going to go to File, and then you're going to go to Export and Media. And this is going to bring up this Export Settings dialog box, which is a little bit confusing, to be quite honest. Where it says Export Settings, H.264 is pretty much the standard these days. That's what YouTube recommends as the codec. And then there are presets in here. So if you know you want it to go out, you know, if you had 4K video, you know, you could choose a 4K format, which we didn't, so we shouldn't. But down at the bottom there is YouTube 1080p, and that's what we used. So that's a good one to choose as export. I'm going to click on that. So H.264 YouTube 1080p. And then where it says output name, and this is, my students miss this a lot, where it says output name, this is important because if you don't set it, it's just going to go save it in some random place and you're not going to know where. So you have to click on those blue words and then go find your file folder. So my file folder is PPro Workshop Summer 2022, and then I'm going to say finished, PSA, and hit save, but that doesn't actually export it. That just saves where it's going to go when it's done, but I have to finally export it. Now there are some other publish options, which at my school, a lot of them are blocked, but if you see here the word publish, you could publish this to your Creative Cloud folder. You could also publish it to Facebook if you connect your Facebook, Twitter, if you connect your Twitter, Vimeo, and even YouTube, but you'd have to sign into your YouTube account. So technically you can publish these straight from within Premiere if you can connect those services on whatever computer that you're on. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave this here, not doing anything to any of this at all. And then down at the very bottom, you're just going to click Export, and that tells you that it's going to be done, right? So you click on the Export button. It's going to take time. These shouldn't take long, maybe a minute to export. And at that point, you have created an MP4 file in that folder that you specified. Now, while it's exporting, you'll see the name of that file, and it'll have 0 bytes. So you have to be patient. You have to wait until it's completely done exporting, or your file won't work. Okay, there. Now it's done, and it says down here your video was exported successfully, and it tells me where it was, and then it disappears. So, you know, most people forget where it was, and then they didn't pay attention to that. But if you're in Windows, you can click on the file folder icon to open Windows Explorer. Usually it does show in your recent documents, but I know where mine is, and so I'm going to go there. So videos, my Premiere Pro Workshop folder, and there you go. Finish PSA. So here's the PSA project file. That's the project file. That's the editing file that only works inside Premiere. This finished one looks like a film strip, and if I double click it, it should open in like Windows Media Player or whatever I have set.
Life is hard.
So there it goes.
Dreary.
lonely, empty. In the darkness, breathe. Breathe in the possibility of the future. There we go. Looking pretty good. We're seeing all of our effects, our lightening of our color, our transitions, our animations, all of that stuff's in there. And then it all fades out gently at the end, music, narration, and all the video. And there we go. We created a 30-second public service announcement. And then, of course, if you were going to go take that to your YouTube, you just drag it in and upload that thing, and you're good to go. I'll do one more little bonus session on how can you do closed captions if you want to have like words showing at the bottom of the screen. Hang on and join me for the bonus session if you'd like.